down here, the bottom left-hand corner of the map, Antigua Shipyard, we have our red Zerg player from MTW. It's Dimaga. His opponent here in the upper right-hand corner is Liquid TLO, our blue Zerg.
Currently up 1-0 after a spectacular performance there in that 4-minute game. We'll see what TLO's option is going to be to get things started here. I don't expect to see any cheese out of him, although he was, of course, just rushed by Dimaga that last game. Dimaga, yep, gonna make it Overlord. Play pretty standard this time around.
Yeah.
A lot of players actually, they just favor opening with standard 9 pools. It's not a strategy that really, it's not gonna set you behind by any large margin. It is ideal to get a drone or two if you can.
Yep.
But, if you don't, you're not down and out by any means. You're perfectly fine. You're just a little bit behind. So.
Right. Okay, well, we'll see what both players offer here. Overlords about ready to pass each other. It's always a graceful moment when they do meet each other in the middle of the map. Looks like TLO actually wanted to float around towards the natural first, then fly up towards the top. Dimaga was just gunning it straight for his opponent's main. But that's really the only difference to speak of so far as we wait to see if these guys are going to go 14 pool or 15 hatch.
I mean, even these drone timings are identical. Now, Dimaga has not sent out a drone, either as TLO. We are at the 180 minerals, so looks like they're both going to take pools. Oh, no, he is leaving around 220. I guess, this is Antigua. So.
Yeah. So there we go, 15 hatch for both players. A 15 hatch can actually be a little bit risky on this map. It is a little bit longer than you think. It's deceptively short, I guess is what I mean to say. Because of the way the mains are positioned, they're obviously pretty close to each other, but the naturals are actually a little bit farther away than the mains are because they're the true corners of the map. You think, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but there is the potential to get in with some very early rushes because you see how wide this ramp is and how much staging area there is outside of the vision of Dimaga at the moment. Very easy for players who are going for an early rush build to get up here, even early Baneling timings, just sit back with a few Banelings out of vision and then duck back in.
It's not a map where you can get away with just queens and spines unless you make a lot of queens because the spine crawler cannot defend both the ramp and your mineral line really well at all. So, yeah, you need to make units on this map is pretty much the short version of that story. And, well, these guys are looking pretty identical here. I mean, even the gas timings are symmetrical, so...
Yeah, at this point, we're already 2/3 of the way done with the last game, and not going to be in sight for this one here. Yeah, you mentioned the gas timings are symmetrical. Everything's looking pretty normal. Looks like Dimaga had a little bit more efficient mining, just a touch, but that's literally the only difference that we've had between these two guys so far. And as a result, he's able to make one additional drone. Well done, Dimaga!
Yeah. Talking about the choices on this map, so mutas. What are your thoughts on mutas on Antigua? Personally, I'm not the largest fan of them after seeing some defensive formations, but I know you like mutas, so you probably know a ton about how they fare. And what are your thoughts on mutas on Antigua, man?
Well, I always love mutas. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. As far as maps go, this one is a little bit weaker for them because you don't have a lot of room to navigate up and around the corridors of the map. You can actually get those trapped pretty easily. This is also a map that rewards a bit of aggression, and the better payoff if you're going to try and keep your opponent pinned in is actually to open up the destructible debris a little bit quicker and try and just a little more naturally with Zerglings and Roaches put pressure on your opponent's third. That way, you don't have to go through the air like you do on some of the larger maps.
We've been seeing a lot of this lately. This Baneling nest in the front, of course, helps prevent surrounds on your unit. So you can see the queen taking position behind it. Oh, TLO going to score himself an Overlord here. And that's not going to supply block Dimaga, not yet. But he is, you can see, already making another Overlord. And he's at 33 out of 36, in fact. So, I mean, if he's got 3 larvae, he can't spend them.
Still 100 resources that TLO is able to gain for himself and doesn't really lose anything in return because he's got 3 queens out on the map.
Oh, wow.
In fact, he's got 1 over his opponent for now, and also has 2 additional drones. So TLO just doing things a little bit better right now, and we'll see if Dimaga can, with this nice defense, with the early Baneling nest, hold on and keep moving up towards his strategy. Not sure what both these guys are going to go for quite yet.
And there it is, that spine crawler. We saw it this week.
Yeah, hiding it in there. Was it Cats, I believe it was?
Yep, it was. Yeah, so maybe more and more players we're going to see implementing the spine crawler. And the idea behind it, guys, is that it is harder to surround. You just can't get as many Zerglings around it. And you can even put your queen up against the edge of it, and it's just like, it's the same idea as surrounding your queen with drones when, a couple of Zerglings come in and try to target it down. But here the gas is out of Dimaga. He's actually dropping, this is so incredibly, I mean, look at their gas counts right now.
Yep. We do have, oh, never mind. What this could be Infestor's first for Dimaga. but I was about to say the only difference was that we had the Roach Warren coming down very early for TLO, as he's planning to do nothing but just Roach upgrades into Infestors at some point, go in from there. Dimaga had actually waited on the Roach Warren, so I was like, oh, well, maybe we will see a Spire out of him. But no, with the +1 weapons to missile attacks, he is going to put down a Roach Warren, but could very well be an Infestation Pit first, and maybe that's the difference we'll see out of these two guys finally.
All right, so +1. About a quarter of the way done. No surprise at all to see both players going for Roaches. You know, we were talking about that earlier. It's just a great... especially if you're confident with your ability to use Roaches effectively, you can really get nice surrounds and flanks and things of that nature. Nice Baneling waste there from Dimaga, getting TLO to use one of them. But it looks like he's going to be retreating now with these Lings after losing a few too many to be happy.
That's right. And Dimaga's bouncing away. I like how the Zergling in the back like jumps every now and again. And then it always happens when you have two Zerglings that are right next to each other that don't have a Hex in between them. The second one, because of the way the animations work, just jumps every now and again. It's kind of goofy. Anyway, we have Roach speed coming up. We have +1 weapons. A little bit slower than Dimaga, though, for TLO. And Infestation Pits hitting it just about the same time, about 10 seconds ahead for TLO at the moment.
Yeah. Ling's going to be coming in right now for Dimaga. And it looks like TLO's going to be making a Baneling. Another Queen might catch an Overlord. Nice engagement, though, for Dimaga. That Queen is in a dangerous position right now, as Dimaga is going to finish cleaning up these Lings in just a second. Queen's going to be on the retreat, but no. TLO arrives with a couple of Roaches and Lings, and we can see he's actually going to try to morph a Baneling here. I am not too sure as to the purpose of that, but if it doesn't get spotted, ooh, nice. TLO sees it and then leaves.
And then runs away. But he forces the cancel, so it's not that big of a deal, I suppose. Okay, TLO actually putting pressure on this base down the bottom right-hand corner. Not going to do too much, but he draws units out of position to make sure that he's harassing his opponent as much as he's taking. Pathogen Glands started a lot slower for Dimaga, so he doesn't have those units coming up quite yet, so TLO going to have those a bit quicker. But Dimaga has more Roaches. He's also got +2 weapons coming up a lot faster than TLO does. So both these guys have their advantages at the moment. Drone counts are pretty similar. Looks like Dimaga just a little bit behind, but he's got another round finishing up right now.
Yeah, he does. And the 5 Infestors are about to pop out. Notice the timing, beautifully arranged, like a bouquet of flowers with that Pathogen Glands. It's only like 3 seconds behind. Here we go. Infestors now popping out. Nice timing, get a fungal growth the Zerglings and make it a lot easier to clean those up. You actually would have lost that Queen.
Yeah.
If that timing wasn't so perfect.
Fungal growth saving a unit there, and TLO actually sneaking in with a few Roaches. So even if a few Infestors pop up right now for Dimaga, fungal growth alone is not going to be enough, and they have actually picked off a few workers. So
yeah.
4 workers, as a matter of fact.
5.
Looks like that's going to be about all, but a nice little advantage.
Definitely a good harassment play there out of TLO. That Dimaga was not able to reciprocate. Roach is now heading out for Dimaga, back towards the middle, and we will have to keep an eye and see what he does opt to do with that. Now, Dimaga's finally getting out his own Infestors. He's got 8 of them about to hit the field. And other than that, you know, both players are still... This game has been very identical between the two, and I want to highlight how much we can really say that players definitely prepare because of all the possible builds in the world that you could do.
Right.
These guys were identical until about the 6-minute mark.
Yeah, they were. I mean, like down to the drone, down to the exact gas timing.
When they dropped their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th gases, it was identical for both of them. They only differed when they were like, I feel like layering and getting a Roach Farm. The other was like, I feel like upgrading.
But so far, after that, though, TLO has actually done a pretty good job, I have to say. He's a bit behind on his upgrades, but he's investing back into his Overlords right now. Both these players just kind of squaring off for what's going to be a pretty big engagement. TLO with 6 Infestors to opponent's 8, but he has 23 Roaches to his opponent's 15. Yeah.
It's really just slight differences in decisions of units here. Neither's necessarily better than the other. It really comes down to playstyle and how, you know, where are your strengths. Do your strengths lie with getting a good concave, or do they lie with good fungals like TLO's fungal that just caught? He says, look, I don't need 8 Infestors because my fungal growths will be so good that 5 will outdo 8. So much damage. Oh my God.
He gets it again.
Will he land the last one? He will. So many of these Roaches are going to explode into a million pieces. TLO with a great fungal growth series.
It was, but the problem was he wasn't able to engage with all of his Roaches at the same time, and Dimaga had the far superior position with his forces there. Looks like TLO actually going to be able to wrest back control with quicker reinforcements, though, and Dimaga forced to use the rest of his energy and put those into infested Terrans. TLO actually conserving his energy again and waiting until he gets back up to the point where he can start moving into yet more fungal growth, so not having to waste any additional energy. Kind of fought themselves to a draw there, and things are pretty even. TLO thankfully fighting that to a draw despite the upgrade disparity.
Also, worthy pointing out is that those Infested Terrans got thrown down, as you said, and TLO didn't. He saved his energy. So TLO could hit a timing as soon as those Infestors get fungal, but no, Dimaga wants to keep pressuring things right now. Look at these fungal growths out of TLO. Doing so much damage to these giant balls of roaches. Incredible amounts, but, he just doesn't have the roaches to back it up, it seems. He's going to throw down Infested Terrans to match Dimaga's, but for now, looks like he's going to retreat. I think that's the right call. Dimaga doesn't have Burrow, I believe, so is not going to be able to regenerate these very quickly.
TLO does have a base advantage over his opponent, and if he finds a way to start taking advantage of that production, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. Fungal growth is still available. No! Oh, he gets it off just at the right time because the Infestor with most of the energy was actually at the front and killed very quickly, but he throws off his fungal growth just in time. Dimaga not taking a fourth base quite yet, and TLO actually getting the advantage just through gas at the moment. Believe it or not, that is pretty considerable, and if TLO can stabilize, which he has, don't forget, Dimaga pressed a little bit too far there before getting +1 Carapace, so the upgrades were similar between our two players. TLO is able to win that war at first and start to push this back through the middle of the map.
Dimaga with some minor victories, he managed to snipe 2 Infestors, but at what cost? He was down about 25 supply, now equalizing it. He's doing okay here against TLO. Looks like TLO is going to be forced back after throwing down a couple of Infested Terrans, but a reinforcing wave of roaches is going to arrive, and both players are now pretty much equal. TLO with a slight supply advantage, but as you said, Kevin, he's got that 4th base.
Now, Dimaga does have one little additional advantage. It seems like this is just a back and forth here as TLO tries to flank around the side and pin down some of these Infestors and may be able to do it. Dimaga actually has +1 Carapace done. TLO does not. So TLO does have a vastly superior concave, and he's occupying the fire of some units from around the side, but he doesn't have enough to drop down another fungal growth. So this is essentially just turning into a continuous, about 10-minute long Roach Infestor fight.
Kevin, but Dimaga had a really nice Infestor count until he let 3 of them get caught out in the front of that army. The Roach is actually forming a barrier, preventing the Infestors from being able to return back home. And wow, TLO really reestablishing himself after it looked like he may have started to have been falling behind, is now once again in a great position, and he's starting to pop out Hydralisk, 7 of them on the way right now.
All right, so another good fungal growth catches a lot of units up at the front. TLO does have the better concave, engaging with more units now, still has the upgrade disadvantage, and you can see that starting to win out for Dimaga at the moment. Reinforcements coming in for TLO a bit faster than Dimaga can, though, and with the Hydralisks at the back, it does provide the additional DPS you need to start driving back those forces one more time. And I cannot overstate the importance, even though there's only 3 workers here, that additional 450 gas that he's gotten reflects itself in the ability to reinforce with more Infestors, whereas Dimaga's just had his slowly whittled away and hasn't been able to replace them. Yeah,
TLO's done a fantastic job during this game of keeping things growing, not only economically, but also he's been progressing further into the tech tree towards that late game ZVZ composition that you desire. Getting the Hydras is one step further that Dimaga has yet to take. So TLO is looking strong both in economy and in tech right now. Dimaga with the upgrade advantage, though.
That's right. We did just see Pneumatized Carapace finished up, I believe, for TLO a bit ago. So not Ventral Sack, so it's not like he's going to be able to drop, but he will have Speedy Overlords to keep a good eye on what his opponent is doing. No tech switches out of these guys yet. They're really just kind of pressuring ahead and doing what damage they can. There's finally +1 Ground Carapace coming up for TLO, but it's still, of course, 150 seconds before it's actually going to finish up. Both players just kind of waiting until they're maxed.
He's also starting Groove Spines for his Hydralisk, going to take them up to 6 range, which is going to be very important, so he doesn't make it easy for Dimaga to target fire them. I want to point out that Dimaga was doing a very good job of doing that. He was grabbing small clusters of 6, maybe 8, up to 8 roaches. He was grabbing those and target firing the Hydras. You don't want to grab too many, of course, but you'll completely waste all that fire, but hold that thought. Big engagement coming, nice flank, but a good fungal growth coming out of TLO. Now he's going to fall back for the moment. Dimaga hitting from multiple angles. The Hydras are taking a lot of damage, being in the front. Decent fungal growth going down for TLO, but Dimaga, I think, is the one with a very nice position of engagement here. He's coming in from both sides, doing a lot of damage. TLO not able to land big fungal growths because everything is in a straight line. Those fungals not able to hit massive clumps, and TLO crumbling in a certain respect there. Even though he's still got the supply advantage, I gotta say, I feel like that fight went to Dimaga. As long as he still has his Infestors, right? It looks like he just pulled them back.
Yes, 5 of them still alive for him, and yeah, they did fall back just a bit. So,
wow, they still have a lot of energy on them too, which is.
I think maybe he only kept one of them alive, and these are just recent reinforcements because they're all popped out about the same time. You can see they have exactly the same energy.
Oh, well, you know, TLO really didn't lose many Infestors in that engagement, and now he has the Infestor advantage, doesn't he? By no 4.
Energy, though.
So, I mean, maybe Dimaga's going to hit here in a second. He does have Infestors with energy on them, whereas TLO does not.
Right.
So, definitely a possibility, especially if he hits before +1 kicks in for TLO, which is going to be huge.
Dimaga's going up to another base, but +1 Carapace, as you mentioned, is just about to finish up. So now, with additional 10, how many Hydralisks coming up? He's going to have a total of 15, it appears. We'll have a quite strong army. Question is, can he get the correct engagement he needs? Looks like Hydralisk trying to drive away, these overseers across the map. And TLO's go time is actually pretty soon because Dimaga's army is going to start getting very strong.
Yeah, he's got +2 Carapace, getting near completion as well as his own grooved spines. I also don't like TLO's positioning here. He's got some Hydras in front, some Infestors in front. Does manage to poke a nice fungal that gets in a great amount of damage, though.
Yeah, just ducking in there, trying to get some more damage done. Gets another one through. So just trying to whittle down this army and actually retreating for the moment.
He's forgetting an Infestor.
Does have a lot of Hydralisks.
Very sad Infestor right
There he
now.
is.
And a Hydra.
Oh. Well, this Hydra's actually just sitting back and denying all mining. This Hydra's paid for itself 100 times over. All right, well, Fungal Growth does catch a lot of the units from TLO, but at the same time, Dimaga actually loses his front line of forces, and he hasn't been able to reproduce his army yet. He didn't have all that much larva available because he hasn't been able to take advantage of this hatchery whatsoever, and that allows TLO to actually carry a 20 supply advantage going into this. Dimaga still does have the better upgrades, but he's lost all of his roaches at the front, and I don't care how many Carapace upgrades you have on a Hydralisk, they're still squishy, and he backs away at the moment while TLO puts pressure on this 4th base.
TLO, guys, up by 50 supply right now with so many Hydralisks pushing down Dimaga, breathing down Dimaga's neck. And, I mean, Dimaga may push him back for the second, but it is a very rapidly ticking clock right now for Dimaga, who is down by 40 supply still and an entire mining base.
Let's take a look at the overall unit count. 12 roaches to 9, 5 infestors to none, 14 hydras to 5, and a very small drone advantage. So TLO is, I know he can't overcommit right now, but he does manage to finish off that hatchery. Let's take a look at the rest of the mining Dimaga. Nothing there.
What killed that hatchery?
Nothing at the main. There was one roach. Who you can see that's his carcass right there.
That was a sneaky roach hiding by. He's like, look, I'm going to hide behind this Vespine gas. You can't see me. It's hot gas. The light's bending around me.
Man, cloaked drone, OP. Almost as OP as one supply drone, or 1 supply roaches. Anyway, let's see here. As TLO has a good number of forces, he's starting to reaccumulate energy back on his infestors. So they're going to be usable again very, very soon. You saw a few fungal growths available for him already. Still up by 30 supply. Getting pretty mined out of his, well, I guess he still actually does have a fair amount. He just doesn't have this terribly well saturated. Starting to finally drop a few more workers over there, though.
Hey, you know, that's a great base to have unsaturated and have your forward base here saturated because that is going to be the easier base to hold. If for some reason Dimaga gets back the advantage in this game, you're not going to be too afraid about losing that third that's all the way back towards your main base. But, yeah, I would like to see TLO at this stage go for a 5th.
Okay, well, he is maybe going for an attack here. So we can see, starting to make his way out on the map. He's got a couple of burrowed infestors that are going to come drop down. Some infested Terrans, and oh boy, these infested Terrans are pretty strong. At the same time, we have a big engagement. Look at the lack of infestors for Dimaga, though. None of the units for TLO are pinned down. Allows him to get a little bit better engagements. The upgrade advantage is still there, though, for Dimaga, and that's what's giving him a little bit better ability to stay in here, but TLO just had too many forces. Now it looks like these infested Terrans are actually going to pick off this hatchery, too.
And with that, Dimaga is almost down to no mining, so GG. Good luck coming out from Dimaga.
That's right, and TLO knocks out a ZZ Master in Dimaga 2-0. Advances into the round of 8. We have our bracket set for that. That was a very, very well-played match by our Liquid Zerg player.
It certainly was from beginning to end. I mean, holding off that 9 pull from Dimaga, I was stunned. I've never seen anybody use the drones. You see the drones run away because you want to keep them alive. But using the drones to run away and then building a couple spawn crawlers, because, you know, you might chase my drones. That was really cool. It was awesome out of TLO. And then the extremely close game there in game 2 was pretty good, too.
Yeah, yes it was. So close games after the brilliant hold from TLO, as you mentioned. But that is actually going to do it for us tonight. So we are going to be done for the weekend. Other esports events, of course, running on this weekend, ESWC, MLG. So I'm sure you will get your esports fill somehow, even without IPL this weekend. So before we go, we want to let you guys know that it's your last opportunity to enter to win this Astro A50 headset. Go to IGN.com/IPL giveaways for more information. We're starting new contests all the way into 2013. We actually have 12 of those contests, and the prizes are just getting better and better. So thanks very much, Astro Gaming, for sending this in. Again, head to IGN.com/IPL giveaways for more information. Follow the IGN Pro League on Twitter or Facebook as IGN Pro League on both of those. You can also find our brand new YouTube page at YouTube.com/IPL esports for all of your multi-game esport needs.
Thank you very much for tuning in. It's been a huge pleasure doing these two series for you. Lots of Zerg today, but we'll have a nice plethora of races coming at you in the future. We were talking actually about yesterday about like team comps for both sides in the final championship, and well, Zergs are looking like a definite possibility at this stage.
Zergs are looking pretty good, I have to say. That's going to be it for us tonight, though, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.